We're going to start off here with Bitcoin on the daily. I'm just going to touch on some of the observations I made in my last video. For one, we broke down out of that wedge I was talking about, so now I'm pretty much looking at this descending channel as what's defining the price of Bitcoin right now. But as you are probably aware, we just kind of got stopped out. Looks like we're holding on the Fibonacci level of about 0.382, which is at about 9.5. We're actually a little below that at 9.4 right now, but we haven't had a huge breakdown. We might still be holding about here. Basically, we might be in for a little bit of sideways action. There's definitely a bearish sentiment, like sell side pressure, but we also have this like kind of area of support here between about 9,000 and 9.2. We've touched on that into that a couple times, but we held. So basically, the bull scenario here would be that we hold here at about 9.5 or around this level, manage to get the strength to test up, and then we're going to see some first resistance at about 10.4. If we can get above that, there'll be more at 11. And keep in mind, we could go all the way up to about 12, and we're still just basically, we could just be carving out the inside of this channel. So even a rise up to around 12, unless we have a solid break out of this channel, still could be defining a bearish pattern. And so even the bull scenario, now a true bull scenario is that we break out above and keep going on, but we'll worry about that when we get there. First, watch for 10.4, watch for 11. A bearish move now would be to break down into this support level here between 9 and 9.2, and a solid break below 9,000. Probably take us, especially if it's soon, it would take us down to the bottom of this channel, probably around 8,400. So that's basically it for Bitcoin. That's the update on what I was saying before. Watch for a break below 9,000. Watch for a solid break upwards, especially if we break above like 10.4. So now I just want to talk about, I'm going to switch gears, talk about some altcoins, how they're performing, and two different patterns I'm seeing with different altcoins performing right now against Bitcoin, and whether I think, what this means basically for altcoin season. So let's look at Litecoin really quick. Here we are with Litecoin on the daily. I'm pretty far zoomed out. This is the whole last market cycle. And I just wanted to point out how, like Bitcoin, Litecoin's actually one of the better performers in the altcoins, but like Bitcoin, it's been pretty solidly rising for a while, pretty much ever since the lows at the end of last year. Higher lows pretty consistently. It sometimes pulls away, but it's been on an ascending line. Again, not unlike Bitcoin. We see this in several of the notable altcoins. We see it in Ethereum, so let's go to that really quick. It's a little less pronounced here on Ethereum. You can see it's not quite as dramatic, but the idea that like they dropped off going into crypto winter, they bottomed out, and then they started rising again. And again, I can't emphasize enough how it's kind of like the pattern Bitcoin's forming. However, some coins are not forming a pattern quite like this. Let's look at Ripple, for example. And I'm not picking on any coins. I'll get to my point in a minute, but I'm showing that there's these two different tendencies for how coins are behaving ever since the last bull run. So Ripple. All right, looking at Ripple here, and just notice how unlike some of the other coins we just looked at, it's more like it has a base. Ripple, when it runs up fast. It comes back very fast, and it seems to be really comfortable down here. For in Ripple's case, like between 25 and like 32 or so, 35 maybe cents. And when it runs up fast, but it always comes back to this not nearly as like not nearly as intensely ascending line. Another one is, again, I'm not picking on Ripple. Let's look at Cardano, for example. Similar thing here, where it got back down close to its current valuation not long after the last bull run. And although it's had some jumps since then, it kind of has felt comfortable down at these levels. Even a coin I like a lot, but not everyone takes seriously, Dogecoin is a good example. Here looking at Doge, we can see how there's been several times where it jumps up, but it always loses that at a pretty predictable rate and comes back down to about the same level. Even just generally now, zooming out and looking at kind of a cross-section of some of the market. Don't worry about like all these different charts and trying to see everything on the screen here. All you need to know is this is Bitcoin up in the corner here, with a pretty notable performance. And some of the coins, again, have this kind of bowl like this. They slowly dip down into winter, and they've been climbing out. Here we have Litecoin and Ethereum, like we talked about. Also, EOS has done kind of a similar thing. Monero, and then other ones like here we have Ripple. Here we have Cardano. Over here with Neo, also Nano. Again, they kind of they look like they're flatline or something. But I don't mean to use that term as a negative. I just mean they find a base and they ride on that base. Now I do think that these projects are solid and will stick around for a while, and they will see growth with the market. But I guess my point here is that this might be what our altcoin season looks like this time. It might not be one unified movement of all alts against Bitcoin, but rather different types of projects moving a little differently. I can't emphasize enough how even though some of these coins aren't rising as quickly as Bitcoin, we shouldn't focus that much on their valuation as being the only thing that makes the projects worthwhile. I know we're all kind of hoping to get rich off of crypto, but a lot of these projects, they're about solving a problem or a use case that's really important, and they're not just about how, especially some of them like Ripple, it's actually good for these coins to not have a lot of volatility. That would work against what they're trying to achieve. It's more acceptable for Bitcoin to have that much volatility. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm generalizing, but we're seeing at least two different types of patterns in the altcoins that this might be how this altcoin season plays out, is that different types of projects perform differently, and we don't just get one big rise that we're all waiting for. Well, once again, that ought to do it for me. As I'm always saying, this is not investment advice. This is just my personal opinion. Do your own research, make your own decisions. Until next time, don't forget that like and subscribe below. Good luck with those trades.